your question of Islamic, would that have been a better product or a model to run? It's being run all over the Middle East, it's being run in emerging market things where it is creating far more stability. However, the lack of education of the Islamic finance model doesn't allow it to truly come into the Western economies at the moment because of the interest-based scenarios that it is.
Yeah. So you're saying interest is the real key there?
Yeah, for all of the Western financial institutions, their businesses run on basis of the spread of the interest that they make. Now if you take the example, and not to get too technical, but if interest rates in the UK are at 0.5%, they're not lending out till anything until 4%. So they're actually making a margin of 3.5%. That's where they're creating all of the wealth again.
Bashir, what's your view on this whole interest
debate? You see the Islamic finance, Islamic banking sort of a structure, the underlying sort of a spirit is that the money has to be in circulation. Money has to be in circulation. And you get return on the basis of risk you take. That's what the fundamental concept is. And if you see what's happening on the West, on the banking side, the bank acts as an intermediary, basically. So if I deposit, if I have investment in the bank, I'm not really taking the risk which is corresponding to the return that I'm getting on the investment. So the bank is taking a role of intermediary there. And in the Islamic finance, that intermediary role is just not there. So it's basically money in circulation. And if that role was not there, I'm sure things would have been much different because, the risk element.
Right.
The disconnect between the banks and the
so let's see what the audience thinks about that. You got any further points?
Yeah, so from what I understand as a layman about sort of the Islamic system of finance, it's all prescribed at a very fundamental level, needs to be sort of implemented according to culture and time. So, but the zakat is the motivational factor, so you basically tax uninvested money. So people are encouraged to invest, whereas interest essentially does the same thing, but from the other side. But my point is that, and also if you are basically if you're sharing the risk, that's the other point, because interest provides fixed amounts, so you're not actually sharing the risk, and your money is not actually, you're not receiving what the money is doing. My point is, but the Islamic system you've mentioned, does that actually implement that system? Is Islamic banking actually Islamic banking?
Well, that's a deep question, and maybe, like Raveel Sahib was saying, it maybe require a further program. I just want to, because there's so much to deal with, I just want to surf over the surface. Have you got a point you want to add in?
Yeah, no, that was fine. I wanted to make a comment about the, in terms of Islamic finance, working in private banking. I deal a lot with Islamic, and as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't really make that much difference. To me, the Islamic financial model as it stands, and as the normal Western sort of models are, there's not really that much difference. They've just packaged it up. They've just they've called it something, they've called it Islamic finance just so that they can market it to, Muslims, as it were. I think going forward, as you said earlier, the very essence of, Islam, when you actually apply it to a model, but I think that's really, really down to the individuals as well. The individuals that take part in that market, the individuals that actually work within that market need to have the same kind of, the same morals for that to work. I think in essence, you'll always have people with greed. I think there's always going to be, you're always going to have those people that want to take it that one step too far.
Okay, that's a good point. So let's get some more views from the audience. Do you think, he's touched on an important point there about morals. So how do you think that plays itself out?
There's different forms of capitalism. There's an aggressive form of capitalism which is coming out of the States. Right. Europeans have a more moderate form of capitalism. We're more interested in workers' rights, the environment, and the profit motive. You can't take that away from the banks. That they're entitled to that, and we live in a meritocracy. But the principle of ethical banking, which you call Islamic banking, or maybe those terms aren't transferable, but I think that's the way forward, and that's all I can say, really.
We're going to be wrapping up the program shortly. I just want to get some views from you guys in the audience. We've had a good in-depth discussion here. How have you felt about it? What have you taken out of it? What role do you think we play as individuals in all of this? Naeem, how have you taken on? Obviously, you were saying before you're not from a finance background, but how do you think we can, looking to the future, how can we make the most of it as individuals?
I think sort of the answer to my question, I think, sort of laid the foundation for that. Lessons have to be learned, and also they have to be not only learned, but as you say, internalized. That is to say that we understand that right from us simpletons down here, all the way up into the big sort of financial chiefs. Every action has a consequence. The motive behind your action also has a consequence.
Right.
So it's just
Okay, all right.
that's simply what I